It's as though you can almost smell the hamburger currently on this screen. And look at that deep teal and golden orange. The color palette visible right here makes this app feel as though it belongs to a high-end restaurant in Victoria Island, Nigeria. And when you click on Get Started, you're ushered smoothly into the authentication screens of this application where you can provide an email and get a token that gives you access into the application, making this app feel like a high-end app for a big restaurant. And so what you're seeing right here is not just a menu, but a full premium delivery experience. And this whole thing was vibe coded with AI. One developer, no team, no agency, just one person and an AI agent having some long and very specific conversations. And aside the authentication flow you just saw right now, this app can process payments. Yes, it can process payments using Paystack. Right here, we can choose on success since this is like a test payment. And then you can pay the amount, 4,500 Naira, and then payment successful. And we get this payment successful notification smoothly on the screen, making this app feel like a premium app, an app you could make for yourself, or you could sell to your client for maybe $5,000 or $10,000 and make a ton of money from it. So today, what I'm going to do is to rip this entire project apart. Every feature, every decision that I took while building this app, and most importantly, the exact process that I used to vibe code this app with AI, so that by the end, you have a system that you can use to build projects like this for yourself and even for your clients. And therefore, what you're seeing right here isn't just AI magically building stuff for you. It's a process. And that's why when you begin to build projects with AI, if you don't have a process that you follow, things can get messy quickly and then you give up on the building. But what you really need is a way into agentic development, which is developing stuffs or building apps with AI. You will need to follow a structured workflow working with AI instead of just randomly prompting it to do this or do that. And when things get messy, you give up. No. In this particular video, I'm going to show you all the processes, the things that I did, the prompting, the questions that I asked, and how AI was able to solve this problem. And then based on the review that I'm going to receive for this app, I'm going to turn it into a full course on development with agents, that is agentic development. So let me know in the comments below if you would like a full course on developing with AI, no codes, no experience required, just you prompting the AI with human readable words, and AI will turn your words into something fruitful, something that you can really see, enjoy, monetize, and make a ton of money from. So let's get started. For the tech stack or tools used in this project, I used AI Studio from Google and Google Gemini to build this particular application. And so when you land on this app, you have this Get Started button that ushers you into the authentication screen, and you get your email and then get a token and verify and continue. And look at the tab sitting right at the bottom of the screen, comfortably here. You have the home screen, which gives you access to all the food item, and you can check the food item by category. For example, you have the savory, you have the sweet, you have the pastry. And then you have the order tab where you're going to see past orders. And then you have the profile where you're going to see your profile picture and your name and your member status. And right here, you have access to your personal information, your shipping addresses, order history, settings, and you have a button to sign out of the application. But the hard part wasn't actually building out this application because AI did it just flawlessly, almost flawlessly, but it was integrating payments inside of this application. So right here, when you click on one of the food items available, like the dark truffles, and click on the checkout button, Paystack will be able to handle the payment from here. And since this is a simulation or a test, I can choose success and then pay 8,500, and then we'll be ushered into the screen that tells us that this payment was successful. How cool is that? And now it gets back to the home page and we can continue to view our orders and go to a profile and do some other crazy stuff on the application. Now let's talk about the Paystack struggle. There was a bit of struggle integrating payment into this application for real-time payments because payment required that we get access to our Paystack dashboard, and under settings, we have access to the API keys and webhooks, and we need to connect our public key, the test public key, with our application. So there was a bit of struggle integrating this perfectly well. And sometimes the checkout frame is being blocked by some of the code within the application. So I had to do a workaround and solve the Paystack integration of this app. Let me show you some of the processes, some of the things that I did in order to get out of that Paystack struggle or the issues that I was having integrating Paystack into the application. And I just gave it the key, the test key from my Paystack dashboard, and asked it to integrate it directly inside of the application. So now it's done integrating that and solving that for me. Now I'm going to click on get started and now try to pay with Paystack, but it's still giving some issues. So let me go over to the Paystack dashboard and then sign into my Paystack account and go to the settings and try to get the API keys under the API keys and webhooks and copy the text public key and then go directly to the agentic AI right here and paste it directly and tell it to use this new key that I just gave it and try to integrate it because I don't understand why there should be a problem. You can see we're still having could not start this transaction. This can be very frustrating. And at this point, if you're coding with AI and you don't understand the processes, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what to do, you can easily get frustrated. But the good thing is you don't have to be. You can just prompt the AI to tell you what to do next, give it the problem that you're facing, and it's just going to solve that for you. So I was able to give it another prompt and say, it is saying could not start this transaction. What do I do? So you can see how straight to the point I was with this question. And now it tried to give me some solutions to the problem. You can say, go to your Paystack dashboard, navigate to settings, look for API webhooks, and integrate some URL inside of the Paystack dashboard. And right here, I'm within the Paystack dashboard. So I decided to copy and paste that URL right here and save. And now restarted my application and try to run the whole thing again. And I noticed that it told me to add some domains and stuff from my Paystack dashboard, but I didn't see anything like that. And so I had to tell it, there is no place to add domains, only IP address and all of that. And so it had to reconstruct the things it did for me and collect some space in the app and even change the currency, debugged a whole lot of things just because of the issue that I told it. And I was being very, very specific. And now the payment system started working. But I also noticed another problem. I couldn't get back into the application after clicking the back button right here. So it became an issue. And then I had to solve that as well. And let me show you how I was also able to get the back button working again. So I started with the prompt. I'm unable to go back to a previous page after viewing the menu details. Are you sure you implemented this correctly? And now the AI set to work. It set analyzing the interaction, examining everything inside of the app, investigating potential visibility, refining button location, and it's just checking and doing a whole round clock around the app to find out why that button wasn't able to go back. And it was troubleshooting, isolating, analyzing, examining, and refactoring components and doing a whole bunch of other things. Sometimes when the AI is working like this, you might not really understand what it is actually doing behind the scenes. In Google AI Studio, just on the left, as you can see right here, you're going to see all the things, the steps the AI is taking. You don't necessarily need to find out exactly what it is doing or understanding what it is doing, but at least you can see what it is doing there. And now it has implemented a solution for me. So I had to sign into the back, into the application. And now when I click on the back menu, you can see it's going back, it's able to go back, right? So now I have one of a solution implemented. And after that, I noticed, okay, great. But now a white screen, a white empty screen appears when I click on the go back button. Why is this so? and I wanted it to fix it for me, right? So I just told it, please fix it. Notice how simple this prompt is. Just, okay, great. But a white empty screen now appears when I click on the go back button because I noticed that there was a back or there was an empty white screen after making payment and everything and then clicking on that back button. So I told it to fix it. And then it began the whole process of analyzing and refactoring the whole code, validating logic and any other thing that it needs to do. You don't necessarily need to understand it, but you can just look at the left part of the screen and read what it is doing, look at the work it's doing. And now it's done. So I try to get started again, sign in into the application and try to see if the back button will present that problem that it had initially. So yeah, now I'm able to sign in, verify, and check out. And after a while, I'm able to pay successfully. And when I click on the back button, it wasn't still going back. So I had to still go back to the prompting. Notice how I'm always going back to the prompting, right? Because I'm not working with codes. I don't know how to code, right? It's assuming that you don't know how to code. So now I'm telling it, okay, now the go back button does not do anything at all. Fix it, bearing in mind what we have done before. So you see what I did there? I told it to fix a problem, bearing in mind the context of our application, as in what we've done before, the problems we have faced before, the problems or the solutions that we have implemented for those problems before, and told it now to fix the current problem. You see how that is? And notice how this is specific and how it is simple and straightforward to the problem or the solution that I want it to bring up for me. So just like before, it went to work and now brought out the application for me again. So now I have to click on get started in order to sign into the application and see if the solution was actually implemented. So yeah, I signed in, used the authentication code and verified and continued, and now try to pay for a particular thing. For now, when you click on the back menu without making the payment, everything works perfectly well. For now, I'm trying to check out. And now when I click on go back, it seems nothing is happening. Nothing is still happening. So just imagine your situation if you asked AI to do something over and over and over and over again for you, and nothing seems to change. Now you can see it's caught an error by itself and it displayed it so that I can see. And now it's trying to analyze that problem and fix it. And that problem is most probably attached to the reason this back arrow is not working properly. So it decided to do the analysis on its own, and then give me back the result. So now it's set to working, analyzing, refactoring, and doing all of that. At the end of the day, the result was ready once again. So now I have to sign into the application one more time. And this time, when I signed in with my email and verified and got back, yes, I got back. Everything is still working. But now I need to make payment in order to verify that the back button is actually working. So now I clicked on checkout and success, and then made payment successful. Yeah, payment successful. Very good. And now I clicked on the back button and it just went back. So it means now that that problem has been fixed. So you can see how much iteration it took me before this actual problem was solved. So that's how you've got to do it. You've got to try it again, give it the specific instructions that it needs, and tell it whatever it needs to do. Tell it the problem you're facing and remind it of the context or the solutions it has implemented before. And now let me teach you the system that I used for this application. The first thing you want to do before prompting is to do your research. So right here, you can see that I had to ask Google Gemini that I want to build something. I want to build a React Native Expo application. And what are the steps that I need to take? How do I go about it? And then it gives me a bunch of answers and how to go about it. So that's the same thing you need to do almost for anything you want to build. You have to ask questions. You have to do your research and find out the best way to go about it. Now, the AI is spinning up some things for me, trying to implement some of the things I asked it to do for me. So we'll just give it a bit of time while it does all the work. And you can see the first time I did this, after researching and giving it the prompt, the result is not so good. This looks more like a fashion app instead of a delivery app, a food delivery app. And now I had to tell it to take down all the things that it did from scratch. And then I even had to do more research. And I said, I want to build a food delivery app named Kachis with the best tech tools out there and use React Native to build these and start out with only 6 screens. So you can see some of the things that I told you to do were being very, very specific. So I had to do it specifically, tell it the specific things that I wanted to do for me and not just do some random things because the result it gave me didn't just match what I wanted to do. It was giving me someone sitting by the beach, giving me pictures of building for a food delivery app. So that can be frustrating. So you can look at the prompt that I gave you here and how that prompt was able to spin up a better result. Now, the second thing you need to do is define goals. What do you want to achieve in this app that you're trying to build? And for me, it was just to build quite a simple application where users can browse through the different food items and be able to choose one of the items and make payment for that item. And then have the order right here instead of the other tabs. And while the user is doing all of this, the user is able to see the food items displayed beautifully well. In the answer that Gemini gave me, it said that photography is the weapon that I should pay attention to when building a food delivery app. And you can see the images are stunning. They look so real, so fine, as though I got the images from a refined photographer. Meanwhile, it was the agent that gave me all of these images. How cool is that? But just before I got this result, now I want to show you some of the prompts that I did and some of the things that I did in order to get to the better result of the app. Now here I'm saying it seems you've not used React Native Expo for this project because I noticed that it didn't use the set of tools that I wanted it to use specifically. And so I had to ask questions. I had to ask questions because I have a goal in mind. And my goal was to develop this app using a particular set of tools, right? And to develop the app in the way that I want it so that customers are able to order something, order food, and have it delivered to them, pay on the app, and be able to get the food delivered to them, right? So, but the tools that it used for this project did not coincide with the tools that I asked it to use. So right here, you can see it's working, deleting some files, including some files, and trying to do a kind of reconfiguration for this whole project. And at the end of the day, I noticed that the project wouldn't just work anymore. So what do? I had to take down everything and then give it another prompt right here where I said, build a React Native Expo app. This app is a food delivery app that will be used by customers to order desserts such as cake, meat pie, shawarma, cake, chocolate, and so on. The app must be built with React Native Expo and is intended as a mobile app. Now you can see that I gave it this specific instruction telling it that this app should be built with React Native and is a food delivery app so that it sinks in. The AI picks it up and knows exactly and specifically what I want it to do. So you had to do a walk around the clock. We created some files and deleted some old ones. And it did this while I was just watching and trying to do some other stuff. So that's one of the cool things about working with AI. But now I'm talking about having the goal in mind. My goal is to build this app with a particular set of tools. So since it didn't build the previous ones with the tools that I asked it to use, I had to tell it and ask it why it didn't use the tool and asked it to use these tools to build this application for me. So I'm just being very specific and I'm being specific having the goal in mind. So it is good to always have in at the back of your head what you want the AI to do for you. And right now it's spinned up a new project for me and I'm trying to sign in, right? And get into the application using my email and the code. And voila, this was what it produced for me. You can see it's not so good, but at least it's better than the previous results it gave me. All right. Here you can see some broken images and the bottom tab right here is not all that good. So And I noticed it still used Vite, which is another solution to build this mobile app for me instead of the React Native Expo app I asked it to use, right? And I was just having fun doing all of this prompting because all I did was just to prompt to tell it, why didn't you use this? Why didn't you use that? And now it had to explain to me why it didn't use the exact set of tools that I asked it to use. And then I understood. I was like, okay, so these are the reasons. Okay, then maybe we can move on to other things. So at which point I had to reprompt it and say, okay, thank you. Let's proceed. Okay, let's proceed with making the app better. Okay, so I can only do this, or at least I was able to do this because I have something in mind that I'm trying to build. And now I also noticed that the name of the app is Sugar Rush instead of Kachis Bite. So I had to tell it to find all usage of the Sugar Rush and replace it with Kachis Bite. So you can see how I'm also being specific right here, telling it to replace an instance of a particular thing in the app with another instance and display images for the shawarma, because you can see right here, the image for the shawarma is broken. So these were the things that I asked the Gemini within the AI studio, the Google AI studio, to do for me. And I was giving it specific instructions and he was just obeying and cleaning out files and recreating things for me. So this is how you work with the AI agent. Now, the third thing is paying attention to the prompting that you give to the AI. You have to give prompting and be very specific with the prompting that you're giving to your AI agent. So when you want to build something, you tell it, build this particular thing in this particular way, avoiding this particular problem, make this to look like this, make this to look like that, so that it has more specific context of what it's supposed to do for you and not just go about doing anything for you. So the more specific your prompting are, the more specific the things you want the AI agent to do for you, the better the result. So AI doesn't have to guess, okay, maybe you want this, maybe you want that. It gets down to the specific issues. And when you have problems to correct, or when there are issues, or AI doesn't give you the thing that you really want, then you have to iterate surgically. Instead of saying something like, make this tab look better, you can say something like, okay, this tab is floating right here. I want it to sit below the application, to the bottom of the application, so that nothing scrolling is seen behind the tab. And that was what I told AI agent exactly. And it made this tab to sit at the bottom of the app. So you don't just give it a generic explanation or generic correction. You tell it specifically exactly what you want it to do. You can tell it something like, make this 4 pixel thick, make this color to become a specific shade of red, make this to become this specifically. So the more specific, the better the result. And then another thing you need to pay attention is one problem at a time. So when there are issues, as I said earlier on, make sure that you solve that particular issue by focusing on the issue, telling the AI that there is an issue right here. Ask questions. Tell it, why did it do this? Please do it this way and this way so that this can be achieved. You give it specific prompting and then it goes about that business for you. And I can tell you that even when you build with AI, one thing that can help you is sharing your work on your portfolio anywhere that you work. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I built this application, vibe coding with AI, all within an hour or less. I just gave it the prompting, told it to do this, told it to do that. And if I didn't understand something, I told it that I didn't. And it would tell me what exactly to do, how to go to Paystack to get the API keys, where to put some URLs and all of that. It's going to direct you on the exact process, on the exact action that you need to take. So these are the processes that you need to follow when trying to build something, especially an app with AI. So now the question you could ask is front-end development or back-end development or even developer's job dead thing? No. Vibe coding with AI can be a sweet, sweet thing. At the beginning, it can be messy when you're just playing around for the first time, or if you don't really understand how AI builds stuff. But with time, when you follow these processes that I've outlined for you, you begin to understand how AI or agentic coding works. And then if you're a developer, it helps you to build applications 100 times faster. Just imagine that I gave a prompt to this AI and it built this app for me. Imagine the number of apps that you can build just within a day, within a month, within a year. It is limitless. So right now, if you've been listening to what I've been saying, you understand that the skill isn't writing code anymore because AI can write code and it can do it better and faster. The skill now is paying attention to details. The skill is vision and taste. How much of aesthetic ability do you have right in your brain? What do you want to see come alive? Can you explain it to the AI agent to do that for you exactly? So that's where your power should be. That's what you should be focusing on if you're going to be vibe coding with AI. You should be able to give it very specific prompting and be creative with it. You can look at examples of other applications. You can even give it context to build things for you, show it what exactly to build and how to go about it. And then it's just going to do it for you. So it is knowing what to build and why to build it and describing that thing that you want to build exactly enough for the AI to execute it for you. So in building with AI, you are the architect. The AI is just going to help you to construct the code. It's just going to help you to bring out the result. But the more specific, the more efficient the prompt you're giving the AI is, the better for you. So this is just Kachis Byte, built by me, just one developer and one AI agent in less than 1 hour without me doing much, just giving it some prompting, correcting the prompting, giving it the context and being specific with the things that I want the AI agent to build for me. So now the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge right now? What are you going to try to build next? And if you're interested in agentic coding, that is building stuffs, applications, web applications with AI, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and you can join a waitlist below for a course that will be coming out on vibe coding essentially with AI. And in that course, you're going to learn the process from scratch to the end so that at the end of that course, you're going to get this process, put it in action, and be able to build a full scale production ready application. So see you in the next one.